Hi, my name is Angela, and I am 23 years old. You're about to hear the story of how my father left me and my family at our worst, and how I paid him back for this after growing up. The path was not smooth, though, because along the way, not only were there obstacles, but also my possible love interest. I won't spoil everything for you now. So, let's just dive into the story. My father was a rich CEO of a multinational company. We were a happy family. Or so I thought. When I was about 2 years old, Dad divorced Mom, because apparently, Mom had nothing good to offer to him. This was all happening suddenly, because he had met another rich CEO woman of whom he wanted to merge his company to increase his profits. In other words, money attracted more to him than his wife and daughter. My mom had not received any formal education. Hence, she couldn't get a job. She resorted to manual labor and earned a minimum wage to keep us alive. I was very young, so I don't really remember much. But I do know for a fact that my mom really went through a lot. If it was not for her, I wouldn't have been standing here today. Poverty and starvation would have caught up to me long ago. The terrible reality was that to take care of me, Mom ignored her own health and her own needs. Many times, she went without eating, just so I was well fed. I had no idea that she was suffering to do all this for me. She was severely ill, yet she ignored it and kept working and doing things for me, from sending me to school to providing me with all kinds of resources. It was only by the time I was in college that I found out about my mom's illness. Her health had visibly deteriorated, and she had to be hospitalized. The doctors declared that they could do nothing to save her now, since she had been careless about it for too long and made it worse. And within a few months, Mom left me forever. The day my mom left me was the day when I cried for the second time in my life. The first time was when I was 2 and saw Dad leaving with another woman. After my mom's death, I came to realize all the suffering she had to go through to raise me up. Meanwhile, my dad was living a luxurious, comfortable life. It was all his fault. He married my mom, making her false promises of forever and all that crap. And he left her as soon as he found some rich person he could add to his wealth. I was disgusted to be related to such a man. It was a good thing that he had left us. But the fact that he didn't want to turn back to look at us to make sure we were okay made me mad with rage. I decided that I had had enough. I was not going to let that sorry excuse of a man get away easily. When Mom had to suffer so much because of him, I was going to make him pay for his actions and show him how wrong he was. I did my research and my studies for the remaining years of my college. As soon as I graduated, the first thing I did was apply for a job at my father's company. I had spent a good time researching on his company and how I could increase my odds of getting the job. So when I received the call with a job offer, I wasn't really surprised. It was all going according to my plan. On my first day of the office, I met the person who was my so-called father. I was using my mom's last name, so he didn't even recognize me. And well, he had left when I was 2. So there was no freaking chance of him recognizing me just by my facial features. And to be honest, he didn't even care. I guess he was more interested in measuring me from head to toe and giving me a suggestive smirk. My skin crawled with disgust. Now I was really ashamed to be related to him. Anyway, so I was assigned my desk and stuff, and I was meeting my colleagues when suddenly I received the biggest shock of my life. I looked at one of my supposed colleagues who was a guy I knew all too well. He seemed to recognize me too, because his eyes widened. "Angelina, is that you?" he exclaimed. "Matt?" I asked him in confirmation. He nodded. Who knew I would meet my high school crush again under such circumstances? "You work here?" I asked awkwardly. I didn't know. "Yeah," he scratched his neck. "I joined a few months ago. It's good to see you again, though. I was pretty upset over losing touch with you after high school. Let's just say Matt and I had a lot of catching up to do. and we certainly didn't waste any time. We became really close friends within a matter of a few weeks, and always hang out together. Everyone at the office knew that we were old friends, except to one person, of course. My boss, aka my dad, seemed to have a problem with me spending so much time with Matt. I don't know what his problem was, but on multiple occasions, he was out for some meeting with a foreign client, and the rest of the team from my department had accompanied him. I was the only one who had remained behind under pretense of work here. It was the perfect opportunity for me to sneak into his office and collect some necessary information that I needed in order to bring him down. I looked through his drawers, and at last, I found a file that was crucial to the company and contained his upcoming plans and strategies. I was about to take pictures of the papers in the file when I heard chatter and noises coming through the door. Crap! I thought they were here. I wanted to get out of there, but it was difficult considering the fact that they were already inside and would see me anyway, so I had no other option but to hide under the desk in my dad's cabin. I heard footsteps coming inside and saw that Dad had entered the cabin and was now sitting in his chair. I heard him calling someone. Few seconds later, another pair of shoes entered the cabin. "You called me, sir?" Matt's voice asked. I covered my mouth with my hand as to not make any kind of noise. "Yes, I have to talk to you about an important matter," Dad's voice replied. "Yes, sir. Please go ahead," Matt said politely. "It's about Angelina." I swear I almost screamed when I heard my name. What did he want from me? Why was he talking to Matt about me? "You need to freaking stay away from her," Dad said sternly, and the table shook from the impact of his hands. "How many times do I have to tell you this?" "Excuse me, sir," Matt answered in a calm voice. "Angelina is my friend. I like spending time with her. Why do I need to stay away? What's this about? I like her." "Okay," Dad finally admitted with a grumble, "and you are coming in my way." I was on the verge of collapsing. My own dad, aka my boss, was crushing on me. What the heck? "Sorry to say this, but Angelina is almost half of your age," Matt said in disbelief. "She is like your daughter, not someone you can have a crush on. Your feelings are pretty messed up, and not to mention, you are already married. How can you even think about other women?" "That's none of your business," Dad replied. "Just keep my words in mind. You can take your leave now." It was the most horrible day of my life. Not only was I hearing disgusting things from my dad, but also I was stuck under his desk for the whole day. My phone was on silent, and it kept going off with calls and notifications that I couldn't answer. Some of them are from Matt, who was probably worried about me since I had disappeared without notice. By the end of the day, when everyone, including my dad, finally left, I was able to get out from under the desk and leave the office. What a horrible day it was. The next day, I didn't even want to see my dad's face. Everything about him disgusted me to no end. I had met up with Matt before coming to the office. I told him everything about the day before, and that I had heard all the things Dad had said. He was pretty shocked, but he recovered quickly and told me that he was going to tell me anyway. I also realized that I could trust that he hated my dad as much as I did, if not more. I told him everything about my motives of joining the company, and about how the boss was actually my so-called dad. This time, he was stunned. He actually didn't believe me at first, and thought that I was kidding. But when he saw my serious face, he finally came around. I explained everything to him once again, and why it was so important for me to bring my dad down. And guess what? Matt said that he was going to help me, because, well, he was not a big fan of my dad either. So, pretty favorable for me, huh? Anyway, so Matt and I made a plan. A very elaborate plan of how we will proceed to take over my dad's company. And apart from that, we also had to expose him in front of his wife. He was definitely going to pay for everything he did, and I was more confident now because I had Matt by my side. We got lucky amidst all this because the department had partnered Matt and me together for a business project. We had to go on a trip for this project to another state. I guess my dad had no idea about this. Otherwise, he would have never allowed it. There was one more thing about the trip. You remember how I told you that Matt used to be my high school crush? Well, the feelings were still there. And now I had a perfect opportunity to get closer to Matt and confess to him. This business trip was everything I could have asked for. Or not. All my hopes and plans were shattered when Matt and I reached the hotel. I was taken aback when a girl entered through the hotel gates and rushed to Matt to give him a tight hug. "Whoa, gosh, Matt, I missed you so much," she said. Matt gave her a soft smile. "Hi, Misty, you too." Then he turned to me. "Angelina, meet my girlfriend Vanessa. And Vanessa, meet Angelina. She is my colleague in high school." "Grand," I smiled politely at Vanessa, even though my heart was breaking into a million pieces on the inside. "Nice to meet you too, Vanessa. I hope it won't be a problem that I invited Vanessa," Matt said to me. "I was so busy with work that I couldn't spend much time with her. That's why I invited her on this trip, so that we could enjoy during free time."